This man, I almost want to say he's a little bit sociopathic with his like obsession over
Yeah.
the anger with Justin Baldoni. What did Justin Baldoni do that was so horrible to his wife?
Hello and welcome in to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, bringing in the latest in reality TV and pop culture. How's it going? Oh, you guys, I'm in vacation mode. You know, your brain goes on vacation mode before you even go on your vacation. My husband David has been in Puerto Vallarta for the past 5 days, and I'm meeting him there on Friday. A little early birthday celebration, but gosh, it's been so hard to work the past couple of days because, my mind is just checked out. And this is peak marriage. I'm really getting a glimpse. I've been married for a little over a year now, and this is okay. You guys are going to get it. So my husband David decides he wants a truck, right? Because that's what he wants. He's American now. Well, he's not American, but he's, living in the United States now. He wants a truck. He wants a Ford Ranger. We have 2 cars. I have my Mazda, and then I had a Chevy Cruze that I bought when I got out of college. It's paid off, whatever. He was driving, we called the car Red Betty. All of our cars in here are named Betty, and then the color that's associated with it. So anyways, he's like, I want to trade Red Betty in. I need a truck. David wants a truck, right? So he traded in Red Betty for the truck. Well, we can't find the title. Couldn't find the title, right? It's my car. My dad was the co-signer on it, whatever. So David flies off to Puerto Vallarta. I got to go to the BMV. I got to get this title. Then I got to take the title to the car dealership so that they can sell Red Betty. And I'm like, Kay, I deserve this vacation after what you have put me through the past week. Not to mention, last day of my antibiotic today, and your girl is feeling good. I mean, she's still a little nasally, a little congested, but we're on the road to recovery. Praise the Lord, baby Jesus above. But let's get into the pop 3. These are the biggest headlines of the week. We got to talk about Rachel Kirkconnell on call her daddy. Wow, appointment YouTube. Never in my life have I sat down for a YouTube premiere. I was set, but I do have to say, it was long. It was long, and it started at 9 p.m. Are you kidding me? Alex Cooper, you got to know your target audience. We're getting up there now. 32 years old, that sucker's got to start at 6 p.m. on the dot. I was struggling to stay awake through it, to be completely honest with you. And hate to say it, the first hour of it was kind of a snooze. There was a lot of, I shouldn't say that. There was a lot of backstory, but she's doing what a podcaster does, saving the best for last, making sure you watch the whole entire episode, making sure you get through the commercials, all the things. So basically what it came down to, according to Rachel, her breakup with Matt, was differences in handling conflict, right? Matt, according to her, Matt was like, we never really fought, but anytime we would have a disagreement, we would really butt heads. And Rachel was like, I had to tell him, like, we're on the same team. We're trying to find solutions. Like, let's not just be constantly coming at each other. And that seemed to be a theme throughout their relationship. That, and also some insecurity on her end. And I think it goes all the way back to her time on The Bachelor, right? Which she did talk about, being insecure, that Matt was the star and she was just a contestant, the scandal that broke out around their relationship and what that did to the both of them, right? So there was a lot of stuff just from the beginning that kind of created insecurities in their relationship. And basically what she said when it came down to the breakup, she was like, we were in Tokyo, Matt is a food vlogger. I was trying to find a really good dinner place so he could get some content. I was on my period. I was having a bad day. I couldn't find a place to eat, and it just like triggered an emotion in me. And at first I was like, wait, what? They broke up over a food vlog? That was like the string, right? You pull on the string and then it starts to get worse. But I started thinking like, she's like, yeah, I just cried a little at dinner, like 2 tears because it was a disappointment and I felt like I let him down. And I was like, I have done way more for way less. And I said this on my pages. I want to read because I asked, I'm like, what have you cried over? And this one made me laugh. It says, if you don't cry over small inconveniences, are you even a girl? I cried over a fried egg. I tried making a soft egg and the yolk broke. I literally didn't even want to eat because it wasn't how I wanted to make it. Like, yeah, that happens, especially when you're on your period, right? We're short circuiting all the time. So I was like, wow, really? That's not something that is a break-upable offense, right? And then it just kind of snowballed. The next day they weren't really talking. She was like, I feel like I'm annoying you. And that triggered a reaction from Matt James saying that he doesn't think that she has wife qualities or the qualities that he's looking for in a wife. He's like, if this is how you respond to a bad dinner, like what is going to be your response to like really bad things that happen? And I was just like, oh, Lord. God be with Rachel. He did apologize for his post on social media. He said, she said he's called me and he has since apologized. I'm wondering why he hasn't deleted it. It's a bad post, right? And especially now that we know he posted it 2 hours after they broke up and she was in the air on a 12-hour flight. Could you imagine the spiral that you would go on if you just got broken up with? You open up your Instagram, see that your ex-boyfriend posted it to 1 million followers, and then you had no Wi-Fi for 12 hours. Kill me. Literally just crash the plane, because at that point, I don't want to deal with anything that's going on. So honestly, like what I took away from that interview was I just felt sad for her. I do feel like the pressure of being in the public eye and being a Bachelor Nation couple got to her. Other things made her insecure, and Matt wasn't really, the way that she described it, Matt wasn't really picking her up in her low points. He was like questioning why she was at a low point, so that is a compatibility thing, attachment styles, how they handle conflict. I just do want to say, because I can never leave a moment to say I was right. I just want to say that I was right. She did talk about the scandal. And, I said that I felt like Matt James felt like really pressured to break up with Rachel. And she pretty much confirmed that, because it was a lose-lose situation, right? I mean, if he stayed with her, can you imagine the backlash that he would have gotten? He broke up with her. He still got backlash. So I just like a little confirmation moment for myself that I was right. You should just listen to me. Okay, let's move on. James, Kennedy, and Ally Lewber have split. Last week, Ally made a statement on her Instagram saying that she and James Kennedy broke up. She said, oh, black background, white text. Obviously, she said, thank you all for your support and kindness. I'm happy that prosecutors decided not to file against James, as I never desired criminal charges. We had an agreement outside over his We had an agreement outside of his home related to his drinking again. However, I was not physically hurt. She says she was shocked by the headlines and disheartened by how the event was portrayed. She says, we're no longer together, but I'll always support James and wish him the best with his sobriety and healing. Thank you for your understanding. So that's kind of interesting, right? First of all, first time that Ally has said anything about it, and she's coming out and saying, look, the information that you guys were given is not how the night went down, which, I mean, whatever way you slice it is interesting. I think regardless of the details that happened that night, it's clear that James's relationship with alcohol, negatively impacts every aspect of his life. We've seen it. We've seen him lose jobs. We've seen him lose relationships, not one, many relationships, right? It's like, is this the rock bottom moment for James? And sometimes people need the rock bottom moment. Vanderpump Rules is canceled. He gets arrested. Ally moves out. They're no longer together. Is this the moment that's going to really wake him up? I hope so. And I hope he can be better in the long run. Earlier this week, he posted that he's been sober for 48 days, and sobriety is hard. I mean, my husband's been sober for 6 years now. It's not easy, especially the first 2 years are so hard. And I really feel like he needs to get over that hump. I mean, especially in the industry that he's in, being a DJ, and it's pretty clear that he uses alcohol to cope with things. So I just wish the best for them. Okay. Last but certainly not least, has Paige DeSorbo already moved on from Craig Conover? So earlier this week, it was a headline that Craig unfollowed Paige, and everyone was like, they're no longer on good terms. What? I'm like, hello. As soon as I broke up with any of my exes, the first thing I did was unfollow them, blocked actually, and not just on Instagram, the number too, and not just the person, parents, grandparents, best friends. No one was safe. No one was safe. Grandma Sue blocked immediately. You know why? Because it just triggers you. Like anytime you see something in connection to that person, it automatically just triggers you. And remember what I said last week? Everybody right now is really, like, not to say you need to be pro or like con, but everyone's pro Paige, right? And they're like, oh, she's spreading her wings and she's flying. She's onto bigger and better. She's selling out Radio City Music Hall 2 nights in a row. Like, sky's the limit. And all of that can be true, but I just feel like Craig probably also feels like, well, what was I, chopped liver? You know, that probably doesn't make him feel good. So there's all this speculation and rumors that Paige has been vacationing with football game guy, Joe D'Amelio. This is also rumored to be the guy that she rang in New Year's Eve with. Now, it's just a rumor, okay? So I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know if it's true. Don't have a clue. Honestly, I hope it's not true. And I hear you, gigglers. I hear you. She's single. Yes, she is single. I think it actually depends. I think, if she's in Miami vacationing with this guy and it's just a rebound and she needs to get her mind off something, we've all been there. I think if it's going to get serious, sorry, I think that's kind of messed up. I think it's insensitive. And I've heard that she said on Giggly Squad, like, we've been broken up for months. It hasn't been months. It's been 6 weeks. Like, even if she didn't announce it in like a timeline that was really close to what actually happened, like, we know that he was with her on Thanksgiving. That's the end of November. It's now the end of January. So at the most 2 months. Like, let's say they broke up on Thanksgiving Day. At the most it's been 2 months. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm just going to hope that it's a rebound, because I think if it's serious, that's not a great look. And can I be so for real? I mean, I've only seen like blurry pictures of this guy, but I don't get it. I don't get it. And we'll leave it there. All right, deep dive time. And today is going to be a doozy. I know we all have Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds fatigue and Justin Baldoni fatigue. I mean, every time I open my ever-loving any social media app, and I'm like, God almighty, I can't handle it anymore. That's why I recruited some help. You know her, you love her. She's been on the podcast before. She hosts Daily Dose of Donna. We're going to get into this theory that Ryan Reynolds could be at the crux of all of these lawsuits and all of the drama. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Where do we even begin? I don't even know where to start with all of this.
I don't either.
Okay, I will say, you're the first person that I ever saw say it's giving love affair gone wrong. And it's kind of picked up speed a little bit. Can you just discuss like your initial thought and why you posted that?
Well, okay, so I read the book like during COVID, like back in 21. And I was obsessed with the book. And then when Blake Lively was cast, I knew Justin actually personally. Like, I've met him in person back in 2007 or 8. And then I knew him just as an actor because of my casting background. So when his name was attached to the book, I was kind of like, I wasn't that shocked or surprised or confused by it. I mean, he was just like kind of a known name in my head. But when Blake's name was attached, I thought, wow, she kind of comes off old, like, for that role.
Yeah.
But when people were posting pictures of them together, I was also like a little bit confused. Like, the connection, they didn't connect to me. So I wasn't that excited to see the movie. And then when all the press came out and everything, but when her complaint came out, I watched the movie that weekend. And I was so thrown because I remember watching the movie on the 21st or the 22nd of December, knowing her complaint, believing her, when I read the complaint, like fully believing her and thinking, this is so weird because why do I feel like all I feel is that they just want to like jump their bones. Like we've seen enough movies or
Yeah.
TV shows where we're like, that just doesn't feel like they don't feel like they have chemistry. I mean, I have that casting director background, but I also just have eyes. And like as human beings or as girls, like we just feel it in our heart when you can feel like the leads like actually have
Yeah.
chemistry or
Yeah.
not. So I didn't really want to say it out loud. I said it like over text to some friends. I was like, this is so weird. She is actively getting sexually harassed by him because I believe her when I first read the claims. And yet I feel like she is in love with him, but I would never say that out
Right.
loud.
Right. Because you
And
know
then,
what would happen when you do.
God, I mean, I even felt bad saying it over text.
Yeah.
And then after his lawsuit, which came out on the 31st, and then, of course, her lawsuit, which also came out on the 31st, on January 2nd is when I just randomly was just like thinking about it. And I just sat down on my couch, like, and just threw it out there on a TikTok. And I didn't expect it, but that was the TikTok and the Instagram reel that exploded.
Yeah.
And I think I was one of the first people to just say it out loud. And I was shocked how many people agreed with me. And then, of course, I did get backlash like, you don't believe women, you hate women, you're a woman basher, you're disgusting.
Right.
And, you know, you're always going to get that when you go against the popular grain. I think as time has gone on, people are more open to believing the possibility,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at it now, because we're going to get into the Ryan Reynolds theory that really has popped off. But, you know, they did have a track record of working really well together. And it's like it switched on a dime. And there had to have been something. What was the dime? You know, what was the light switch that went from, like I watched some of your stuff today, you know, he was holding Blake's baby. You know, they were texting each other really, some would say flirty text messages, right? They had a good relationship and then something happened. So how are people equating that to Ryan Reynolds?
You know, there's so many ways this goes. Like it's like a choose your own adventure book, you know, like when we were kids, how it was like, if you decide to go in the tunnel, go to page
Yeah.
36. I feel like this is how this will go for if it goes to trial or even if it doesn't. Like it really does feel like there's a million ways that this can go. And since we don't have the answers, we just can theorize, which is kind of fun as a content creator or as just like a podcaster that doesn't have the actual facts. I don't even know if they know the facts. I just think that what we can kind of theorize is that assuming they got along really well, something went wrong at some point. So either he started to potentially give her the ick, where maybe he just started to say things that made her feel very uncomfortable. If you want to believe her side, where maybe he was just saying things that made her feel yucky or uncomfortable, or just made her feel like she was not being respected or whatever, and then things turned. Maybe certain text messages were found on her phone, and Ryan was like, "Excuse me."
Mm.
What?
Yeah.
Where he started to want to get the dailies and want to get more involved. Maybe she went home and said to Ryan, I don't like the way he's treating me. I don't like that he's not giving me A, B, and C control. There's a million different ways that this goes. We're starting to piece together different things based on Ryan Reynolds' previous behavior, though. So
Right.
what's happening now is Ryan Reynolds, it's like skeletons are being let out of the closet. And
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds has had this great reputation in Hollywood and in Canada. He's a Canadian actor. And he's kind of been, it's weird because it's all been out there, but it's been buried.
Right.
Literally buried, all his bad reputation stuff. And it's been there, but no one talks about it. He has
Yeah.
great people that is always buried, like his bad relationship habits with Scarlett Johansson, his
Right.
ex-wife.
Who
And
she, just for people who don't know, you know, she's been quoted kind of alluding to career jealousy in their relationship, you know, saying things like, you know, you really have to pay attention to whose career is taking off at what time. And, you know, people are kind of equating that to the fact that Ryan Reynolds could have been jealous of her success. And also that, you know, he has a history of falling for co-stars. That's how him and Blake Lively got together, right? So there might be that deep-seated insecurity of, is Blake potentially falling for somebody on a set like I have before?
Totally, totally. And, with Alanis Morissette too. And that's a crazy deep dive that I had never gone down. And I just did the last week. So Alanis Morissette, and he had this crazy long 5-year engagement. And she was apparently heartbroken over this relationship, but she wrote an entire album that was not really a big hit in 2007 or 8 after they broke up, where she exposes a lot of his really, really controlling behavior in some of her songs. Alanis is like known to write about her exes,
Mhm.
and as Taylor Swift does. Hello. And so, I guess don't ever date musicians. It's
Yeah.
like that's like the first thing that you should know. If you are a toxic person, don't date a musician. And so it opens up. It's like, wait, Ryan is actually kind of dangerous as a husband or a boyfriend, it sounds like, especially when he's dating someone that is also a superstar or a celebrity, because it sounds to me like he kind of wants to be married to someone who just isn't at home, like a ballerina farms
Yeah.
situation, right? Like he wants a trad wife.
Yeah.
And yet he keeps going after these really amazing A-lister.
Successful, yeah.
Yeah. So there was an article that came out in 2013 that, I mean, I don't know if anyone was looking for it. It was on yahoo.com, and it just got discovered recently. And it talks about the fact that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have a really unhealthy, controlling relationship. And this was freaking 12 years ago.
Mhm.
And so this was before they even had any of their kids. So it was out there, but no one was really paying attention. And there's all these blinds that were written about them through the years. But again, no one was really paying attention. And she was having baby after baby after baby after baby and not really acting other than a random movie, A Simple Favor, and these random movies. And then this was her big entrance back into huge fandom type movies, because every girl that has ever read a book in the last 5 years was excited about this one. And then look what happens.
Yeah. And not only digging up stuff, with his past relationships, people are starting to put puzzle pieces together of the way he acted towards his co-stars. There's, two things that I've seen. One, when he was in, I can't remember the name of the scary movie, and he
I'm going to say it wrong. Amityville
Amityville
Horror.
Horror. Yeah, where he
I don't watch movies like
improvises.
that.
I don't either. He improvises a slap on the face to a kid, right?
Yes.
Which is kind of wild. And then this other instance comes out with TJ Miller, who was a cast member on Deadpool. And he says, we really didn't need to do another scene, but for some reason, Ryan wanted to do another take, and he berated me in front of everybody in character. So people are like, okay, well, that's odd. And that correlates with this promo clip that is now circulating for It Ends With Us, where Ryan is interviewing his wife's love interest, the other one, Brandon, the one who plays Atlas. And he's saying things like, why are you trying to steal my wife? And there's all of these very pointed things that clearly relate to Justin Baldoni. I don't know if you saw the squat reference. Can you
Yes.
explain that one?
So, okay, this is so weird. It's so strange because we noticed this. I pulled this clip, and I'm so grateful for my listeners, because I don't know if you feel this way about your listeners too. I'm sure you do. They send you stuff. Like they
Mhm.
find things, and they're like your little like producers, right? Like
Yeah.
they find things on the internet and they're like, "Did you see this?" And so they find things that I never would have. But about a month ago, when this was just starting to come out, they sent me this. One of my listeners sent me this clip from Brandon Sklenar's Instagram from August. So this came out publicly. It was out there, and we were all like, well, I didn't see it at the time, but I guess people were like, this is so funny. It was public, and it was posted as like a promotional tool for It
Mhm.
Ends With Us. It's a 6-minute video that was posted on Brandon Sklenar, who plays Atlas in the movies, Instagram, with Ryan Reynolds' mom, and Hugh Jackman. Why? Shockingly, none of them are in It Ends
Right.
With Us. None of them are even producers on the movie, but they are promoting It Ends With Us as actual Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Ryan Reynolds' mom, not playing characters, and interviewing as if it's a press junket and asking, why are you taking Blake Lively away from Ryan Reynolds? It is so strange. And essentially what is kind of being figured out is they're talking to this character of Brandon Sklenar as Atlas, almost as if they would talk to Justin Baldoni. Like,
Yeah.
why the hell are you trying to steal my woman away from me?
Mhm.
Every line. So this one line about squats refers in a weird, vague way. Now looking back, there is Instagram post that Justin Baldoni did. I think it's like 150 weeks ago or 103 weeks ago. It's so many weeks ago. So
Yeah.
2 years ago, I mean, I don't even know. Where Justin Baldoni's doing these like sexy squats in his gym. He's a good-looking guy, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
And the low camera angle, I mean, like you see it's his butt. Like that's all that
This
it
man works out.
is. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds could never. And Blake was feeling good, right? She was feeling good watching it. And so he was doing these squats and she said something like claps or something, and now try it pregnant or something like that. Basically trying to be cute. She was pregnant at the time because when is she not? And it was pre-production of It Ends With Us is my guess, or at least like they were in development, something along those lines. Obviously it was not when they were in production fighting. I don't believe it was like during their fights. I don't have the date on when it was actually left, this comment. But I'm assuming it was when they were in good graces and everything was fine. He obviously saw this. He's not happy about it. Like, this is a jealous MFer. And that in addition to creating the entire character of Nice Pool in the Deadpool 3rd movie, which I just watched the clip because I've seen clips on TikTok, but I wanted to watch the entire thing for myself. So I had to sit through this hell. And I'm telling you, it is so wild.
It's
how
obvious.
it is.
Oh yeah. It's so obvious.
And he treats Nice Pool so badly in the movie in the sense of like ridicules him, makes him look so stupid, and then not only kills him in such a vile, awful, doubly, triply, horrible, like awful way, like explodes him basically. Like, I am not only going to kill you, Nice Pool, but I'm going to murder you. Like, he hates him.
Yeah. And I'm always a little bit skeptical of things when people are just referencing one particular instance. But when you look at, the TJ Miller of it all, the Deadpool, the squat reference, why are you trying to take my best friend? It's like all 4 of those things. And there's probably more. Like, let's be honest. This is
There's
just
so many Easter eggs. It's Taylor Swift vibes.
Right. This is what the internet has picked up on. That's not a coincidence. There's no way that it is.
There's another one too that I just figured out last night from TikTok.
What is it?
Have you heard about the dog theory?
No.
Okay, so I didn't watch the full Deadpool movie, but there's a dog in the movie. In the scene where they're meeting Nice Pool, he's holding a dog. Do you remember this kind of? And this dog is grossly licking Ryan Reynolds' mouth the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, they call the dog. Now I have to look up what they named the dog. But Ryan Reynolds wrote an entire tweet about the dog, and I will try to find the entire thing, but he wrote an entire tweet about the dog from Deadpool, and in it he says that this dog was our intimacy coordinator. He's obsessed with the intimacy coordinator. He talks about the intimacy coordinator in the movie. He said to Sandra Bullock, he tweeted to Sandra Bullock in August of last year, for your birthday, I'm getting you an intimacy coordinator. Obviously, intimacy coordinator was a big part of the Wayfarer It Ends With Us story.
Right.
Like, this man, I almost want to say he's a little bit sociopathic with his like obsession over the anger with Justin Baldoni. What did Justin Baldoni do that was so horrible to his wife? Even if all of Blake Lively's claims are true, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this not to minimize sexual harassment because I don't, but just say they're all true. Okay? It's got to be more. There's something else going on. Because Ryan Reynolds has worked in this business a long time.
Yeah.
And I used to be a casting director on set. And hand to God, I've been harassed worse than what Blake Lively is claiming, like in my life. So something happened more. Like, there's a personal vendetta from Ryan Reynolds. Something else is going on. There's something else. Because at the end of the day, yes, maybe he's very upset for Blake that she was treated this way, if all claims are true, which we know some of them aren't even true because we've already seen the footage and stuff. There must have been something else. He didn't like the fact that they were communicating late at night. He was jealous. There was something else.
Yeah.
It's a personal vendetta.
Well, and like you said, we can't pinpoint, but I mean, do you think that this voice memo that came out could have been a catalyst that Justin Baldoni is sending at 2:00 in the morning, 6 minutes long?
I would say it didn't help.
Yeah.
I think if he heard it, it probably made him feel very uncomfortable. Um, I think, you know, it's hard. It's hard because, I think that some men are very, very uncomfortable with that kind of stuff. She also was sending him long text messages at 1:50 a.m. too, but I guess it's the long 6-minute voicemail. He did say send my love to Ryan though. I don't know. I mean, it's tricky. I think there was a level of jealousy from the beginning. I think it's uncomfortable. He's a good-looking man. He's clearly like there was something there. I don't know exactly what it was, but Ryan Reynolds has literally had the most insane sex scenes on Deadpool. Like, oh, that's another person that he had a little bit of a falling out with, that Monica. I'm going to say it wrong, probably Morena Baccarin or Monica Baccarin, the woman who played his love interest on Deadpool 1, the
Mhm.
gorgeous woman. Their sex scenes on Deadpool 1 were intense, like so much so that I remember when I showed my kids that movie, I made them close their eyes, which I never do. But
Yeah.
there's like some really intense sex scenes in that first movie. And she also got shunned at the first premiere. It came out yesterday. Like
Mm.
she wasn't in any pictures with the rest of the cast. So she completely was like pushed out of the premiere too. And she wasn't in the second movie of Deadpool. But he's had some really, really sexual movies. So like why is it okay for him to be playing it up sexually with all these people? The sex scenes in It Ends With Us were pretty mild. Like it wasn't that intense. I
Yeah.
think he just really struggles. Like I don't know. It's really hard to say.
And I know, people are probably listening to this and thinking, well, it surely can't be all, hypothetically, right? It can't be all Ryan Reynolds' fault. Like Blake Lively still has to play ball a little bit. And I'm just curious, and maybe it's because Justin Baldoni's lawyers are just doing a really good job of, being pretty convincing in the public eye, and we've seen Blake Lively and her team say, like, we want things to stop playing out publicly, like we want this to, go down in court. And I'm like, is that why I'm being so like convinced, that Justin Baldoni's version of the story is more accurate just because lawyers are convincing? But I don't like, based on everything that's laid out that we've seen, I don't understand how somebody like Blake or potentially Ryan could be so confident moving forward unless they really do have stuff that we just don't know about yet.
So I think that there will be some stuff probably still revealed that we have not heard of. I think from inside sources that I'm hearing, I do think that they're holding on to some things that they're not revealing yet, just like what happened at the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial that we were not aware of, what
Mhm.
happens at like the OJ Simpson trial, like these big cases, we don't usually know of every single witness that's going to be pulled on the defense or on the plaintiff's side. Brian Friedman and Justin Baldoni's side is playing it all out.
Yeah.
I think also for an intimidation factor, trying to get Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds just to settle and be like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we're done. Um, I still think Justin Baldoni has a stronger case, in my opinion, just from like rereading everything, because I don't think Blake Lively has as much evidence. But there's something that they're fighting for, and that for that reason, I do think that there is a little bit of something that they're holding on to. So
Yeah.
whether it's other people on the set, whether it's some other claims, whether there is some recording, we don't know specifically yet, but I don't know if it's as clear cut as it is, but the fact that the New York Times is doubling down, so that's also like such a crazy, weird other side of this. And I think that that's why this case is so riveting. Because, some people are like, get over it already. It's just two celebrities fighting. I'm like, no, it's not. No,
Yeah.
it's
It
not.
goes deep.
It's so many layers, right? Like it's the David versus Goliath, right? It's like these big Hollywood actors versus like this young, I say young, like he's not, but this like smaller kind of underdog
Yeah.
guy, and he's fighting back, which I love that side. Then you have the whole media play in it, because it really is these big, powerful media, like legacy media, New York Times, who I think is running a skewed campaign here and doubling down and getting sued. Like that's a huge story. So they ran a podcast, for their New York Times podcast, The Daily, yesterday, that just basically doubled down on their article and even released a statement saying, we stand by our article.
Mhm.
and they are being sued for it for $250 million. So I'm very invested in that side of the story as well. But there's something that they're holding on to for them to hold on to that. Like $250 million for the New York Times is a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So why? Why
I
are they
have I have to think too that it would be very difficult for them to bite their tongue, considering all the backlash that they are getting. Your human nature, human response would be, let's get this out there. Let's, have people stop attacking us at all time if they really feel like they have something that would change public opinion.
I know. I don't understand. Like that's the thing. If I were Blake's side, I would say like release all the evidence now
Now,
and
yeah.
get people back on our side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very confusing. Now maybe there's people out there that don't want to talk yet. Maybe there's
Mm.
witnesses that are scared to speak. Maybe, and that's another thing is like people are still scared, I think, of the Ryan and Blake machine.
Yeah.
And the news story today that I'm going to dive deep on my show also is like Taylor Swift in the news right now is like pulling away from her friendship with Blake Lively. That's the news
Mhm.
story.
Yeah.
It's like and this is what happens when people are embroiled in scandals. People start like running away. I
Yeah.
don't want to be involved.
Colleen Hoover.
What the hell?
Yeah.
But the first day she's like Blake, Team Blake,
Yeah.
and she said that from the premiere. All of these people stood by Blake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so scandalous. It's so crazy.
Do you think that somebody would go to this extent? Because the other theory is that all of this is about obtaining the rights to the second movie. That Blake so badly, and we saw it in those text messages, right? Blake so badly wants to be taken seriously as, a big player in Hollywood. And she says, nobody ever takes my writing seriously. People just shrug me off or whatever. And then there's this whole other movie that Justin Baldoni owns the rights to. No actress I've heard of, and people have been saying this online, ever gets access to full dailies, which is everything in one day. Even before you yell action and after you yell cut. Like, why do you need to see that? Why do you need to continually rewrite scenes unless you're really trying to prove yourself? I did see this theory on Reddit. It's just a theory, but I don't know if you saw this.
I think I
But
know what you're talking about. Cover it. Say it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this theory on Reddit that Justin Baldoni owns all the rights to the second movie, but there was like a morality clause in that where if something bad happened, and it explicitly says sexual harassment, Colleen Hoover would be able to obtain the rights back to the movie, and Justin Baldoni would not be able to have the rights to the second movie. Then there's this interview clip, again, going viral, of Blake Lively sitting with Colleen Hoover, and they ask about the next movie. And Blake's initial response is not, oh, I'd love that, or whatever. It's, if Colleen has the rights, like that. Like, not even another thought. It was just, if Colleen has the rights, I'll follow her anywhere, which is that's an interesting way to answer that type of question.
There was something going on between Colleen and Blake that feels very, very weird and very like Mean Girl approach. There was this one like story that happened. There was a thing called Book Bonanza that was covered in his lawsuit. And it happened in like, I want to say July, like a month before the premiere.
Mhm.
And this is something Justin was like really excited to go to. Obviously, Colleen Hoover was like the author of our generation for girls. Like it was like the Danielle Steele for our generation, like of our mom's generations.
Yeah.
And every single girl we knew was reading every Colleen Hoover book, obviously at Target. It's like all Colleen Hoover books. And so Book Bonanza was like a really big, it's a Comic-Con for books. And Justin was really looking forward to premiering part of the movie and going and being on a panel. And sure enough, Colleen Hoover was there and Justin was supposed to go and couldn't go, was like disinvited to go. And it was Blake and Atlas, basically the character of Atlas, Brandon
Mhm.
Sklenar, that went with Colleen. They like literally pushed him away. Colleen completely, after 5 years of working with Justin, completely unfollowed him, pushed him off, chose Blake. I'm sure Ryan had something to do with it. Ryan has so much power. It's disgusting. So much control with his huge production company, with so much money, so much like in his back pocket, like so much play, power play. How many things do you think Ryan could say to Colleen to be like, come over here. Listen, I
Yeah.
got this. I got this person, Hugh Jackman. I got Taylor Swift. I got, you know, and he's a charming
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and versus Justin, who is probably like a stressed out first time director. Things go wrong on set. And this is another thing that I think we can take into account. Your first time director and Wayfarer, this is their first time being producers. I guarantee you things went wrong on set. Guarantee
Yeah.
you, no question.
Yeah.
I've worked on too many productions to know that there were things that went wrong on set. Like time stuff went wrong, budget things went wrong, maybe like certain, you know, safety things probably went wrong. It's just a way things happen. It's like it happens. There was the strike happened. Like things went wrong on set. I'm
Mhm.
not saying it was unsafe. I'm not saying it was totally dangerous. I'm just saying like it wasn't a well-run production probably from top to bottom. And so they're going to probably blame that being like, oh, this is an amateur situation. And then
Yeah.
Ryan's like, oh my God, this lame-o production Wayfarer, like come with me to the Deadpool side.
Yeah.
And
That's
Colleen's
true.
like, ooh, Deadpool. Because I guarantee you she was like a fangirl.
Yeah.
And she would
Well,
like get
I mean, if you're Colleen Hoover, I feel like it's probably easier said than done too, to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna stick by Justin. When you have these high profile A-list celebrities, you know, wasn't this her first book that she sold to make into a movie?
yeah, and then now she has Verity, and like, how's that going to go?
Yeah.
But also, by the way, have you read It Starts With Us, the second one?
No.
Okay, It Starts With Us is basically Lily Bloom's next chapter in her life, right? It's her
Mhm.
raising her child. Ryle is very much in the movie. This movie cannot happen
Yeah.
without both of their involvements. Like
Yeah.
it's not just about Lily and it's not just about, you can't do it. Ryle is in the movie. So unless they completely redid it with just Blake, which by the way, no, no one's
Right.
watching this.
No one would. Yeah.
And you can't do it with just Justin and not Lily. Like it's not happening.
Yeah.
This ruined the chances of a second movie. So Blake ruined this no matter what. Even if she was trying to get the rights, this ruined that.
What's the likelihood, really, that we like are all just being bamboozled by Justin Baldoni and his team? Is there a world where we all just got punked by this?
Like by Justin?
Yeah.
How? Blake started it.
Yeah, yeah. I know. You know what I struggle with, and I said this last week too, and I know you briefly touched on it. Like, as women in the entertainment industry, we've all, I shouldn't say all, most of us have had an experience where we're like, oh,
Gross.
you know, and it just like your heart sinks to your stomach. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I can't sit here and say that Blake Lively didn't feel that way. I don't know. I'm not her. I'm not on that set. But at the same time, like I said, his lawyers have been so convincing in every single thing that they put out there that it almost feels impossible to like fully get 100% behind her. And I've also seen people, you know, going through the lawsuit, comparing her lawsuit to Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, and everything is like a game of semantics, right? Where it's like, if that's the case, is it just perception is reality? Or is somebody believing their lies? You know, there are people like that lie to themselves so much that they believe that they're telling the truth.
Yeah, I watch Real Houses of New York. I see Bryn.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly who it is. It's like I feel like I'm watching that on Real Housewives right now. Like it's really possible, and I'm not saying that Blake is a pathological liar by any means. I'm just saying that there is a world where when it's not so cut and dry, when it's not like he gave me the apple or he didn't give me the apple, when it's a version of events and it's the way someone has said. Like sometimes I say something to my husband and he's like, why are you being so mean? I'm like, I wasn't.
I'm not. Yeah, yeah.
It's tone.
Yeah.
It's tone. It's the way
Yeah.
you're asking. And I do think from listening to Justin's voice note, I think you get a vibe of who he is. And I think that that's another version of this. And it's also from the footage. You hear what you want to hear and you see what you want to see. So if you want to believe, and this goes like into politics, this goes into anything you believe. This also goes into reality shows. If you like someone on a reality show, whatever
gonna
they
give them the
do,
benefit of the
it's
doubt.
going to like
Yeah.
support your evidence, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you like or don't like, it validates it. So if you are Team Justin, you're going to hear that and you're going to say, oh my God, he's sensitive and he cares for her and he's like a human, like he wants to appease her. If you hate Justin, you're going to be like, he's creepy.
Yeah.
So that's the way it is. I think she was getting to a place, or maybe Ryan was getting to a place where they were not liking him. So every way that he was sounding was like, oh, listen. And I think that that's where that was going. Whereas I think that Justin says things like, I want all of you. And like, let's get our creative juices flowing. Justin is an actor. And Morgan, I think you've been around enough actors to know that some of them
They're
are
weird people.
freaking weird. And that's part of the reason I don't work with them anymore.
Yeah.
Like I was saying on my show yesterday that like I've heard actors debate for about 7 hours about whether or not they should wear blue or green. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's strange. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. They like talk the motivation for wearing a tie.
Yeah.
Like they get weirdly in their head about things and they
Yeah.
talk about like and honestly I used to coach actors, so like sometimes I would have to teach them to write monologues or to like write backstories for why they walk into a room fast or slow.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of a morning did you have? Did you drink too much coffee that morning? Did you go to sleep too late last night? Like, you have to get in your head as an actor. So, and he's part of this Baha'i faith, like there's a lot of things. I just think that they were not on the same level. Blake's sense of humor and Blake's comedic timing is
Mm.
weird for me. Like, I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I don't think a
So
lot
I
of
just
people
think they
get it.
just didn't align. So maybe his comments to her, she like didn't get
Yeah.
his comments at all.
Yeah. What do you think is the likelihood that they actually will make it to this March 2026 trial?
I thought you meant like march. Like, are they doing a march on like in front of the Capitol? Like a march for women? I'm like, I don't think they're making that march. What are I mean, God, it's moving so fast. Like so much keeps coming out. So I don't think so. But if it will be, if it actually happens, like we're flying there.
Sad.
We're gonna
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
report from outside.
Yeah.
Like
Okay, you
TikTok
heard
is
it here
flying up there.
first, folks. We're going.
I already bought my ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Donna, thank you so much for coming on MPT. I always love to have you. Please
Aw.
plug away. I know if you like my show, you will love Donna's show. And she's daily. I'm not daily. I don't have the type of energy for that. So where can they find you?
Oh my gosh. Yes, seriously. I don't even know where I am coming from anymore. 5 days a week, Daily Dose of Donna, spelled Dana. I'm on YouTube 5 days a week. And then, of course, on Apple and Spotify and wherever else you listen to your podcast. If you listen anywhere else, I don't even know. And then TikTok and Instagram at This Is Donna Bowling.
Thanks, girlfriend.
Yay. Thanks, Morgan.
Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of MPT. You know what time it is. Leave a little review, a little 5-star boop boop, a little love you like a sis. If you have not done so, please do so. It helps your girl out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, engage with this video, send it to your friends, send it to your mom. Whatever you want to do out there. If not, okay, I'm going to Puerto Vallarta, baby. I am ready to bake in the sun. If I don't come back looking like a lobster, I did not have a good time. So I'm just kidding. I'm going to protect myself, because sun damage is real. And we don't want that, okay? Okay. Signing off. See you later. Love you like a sis.